Hey friends, this is Caly. Welcome to another video tutorial. I am creating a fun and colorful Christmas card using some coordinating products from the Simon Says Stamps latest release. This is the Heart of Christmas stencil and stamp set. You can use these sets individually, but I'm going to use them together because I think the stamp set is really helpful. And then we have the outline Heart of Christmas die, which creates another element for your card. And again, it can be used as standalone or together with these coordinating products. So what I'm doing here is lining up my stamp. I'm going to use it as a guide for my stencil. So I'm going to use a very light ink, and this is going to be the Barely Beige ink. I'm going to center this Christmas tree on a 5x7 panel, and then I'm going to move my card panel up and down by 2 1/8 inches to make sure that everything lines up perfect. There's enough distance between all of it for my outline later, and see, you can barely see that there's any color there. And it's again just going to help me with guiding where to line up my stencil. So if you don't have the stamp, you can obviously eyeball the stencil and do some inlay even if you're using the die only. I just thought the stencil is going to be super easy to line up if we have a image to help us guide where to line up our stencils. So the stamp set was definitely helpful for that. So now I'm using some positively saturated inks to ink blend these hearts. I'm using 3 colors. I'm using Cheeky, Blush, and Limelicious. I'm going to use one color at a time, but I'm going to be shifting my stencil and my panel so that I get the same color for each size of the hearts on these trees. This also cuts down on the cleaning time of my stencils, so it's a win-win. Okay, so we're finished with the darkest Cheeky color. Now we're working on Blush. This is the lighter shade of pink. So we're going to ink blend that again, shifting the card panel and working on the Christmas trees from left to right. Again, this is going to create more interest in the size and colors of these different hearts, and will give our trees a different look so that they're not all the same on our card panel. So I have Limelicious now. This is the last color for the tree. Got to add some green to that Christmas tree, right? So after I'm done with this green, we're going to go ahead and ink blend the stars, and I'm using the Lemonade color. That's the lightest shade from the Yellow Trio line. And if you haven't used these inks, they really are different. They're so creamy and easy to blend. And if you're wondering about these brushes, I swear I'm not being biased. They are so soft and so easy to blend with, especially with these creamy inks. All right, so if you haven't noticed, I skipped on the ink blending of the tree trunks, and that's because I want to create the grounding. And I'm using the Strips 1 die, and that's going to be the die on the left, and it's the smallest strip set. I've already pre-cut a bunch and put them into sleeves, as you saw. So I'm just adding some double-sided adhesive tape onto my card panel, using my grid lines on my cutting mat as a reference guide. And then I'm just going to lay down the coordinating strips of color that coordinate with my tree. I'm going to cut off the excess now, and while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and trim this 5x7 panel. I want it to be trimmed by a 1/4 inch all the way around. That way it can mat a cream base later. Right now we're going to be working on the outline Heart of Christmas die. I've got some white glitter cardstock, which I absolutely love. And just checking out the dies here, there is a base die that I'm not going to use, but would be super helpful if you were to inlay or use this product by itself. I've got the trees outlined, cut 3 times, and I've die cut off camera 2 more layers for each additional tree, and I've cut off the base on one of them to account for the strips on my card panel, if that makes sense. So that will make sure that the paper is lined up evenly on this card panel. I've already stacked the 2 layers together, so I just need to add the white glitter cardstock on top, and that will finish our 3-layer stack, minus the 2 where the trunk is, if that makes sense. And I'll adhere this right over the stenciled tree. And because we stamped it first in the beginning and helped us line up all of these hearts, this outline is just gonna lay right on top of the trees just perfect. So that was the goal and the reason why we used the stamp to begin with. All right, so now for the trunks, we're gonna go back and we're gonna ink blend a little bit of brown. This is khaki ink. And I'm just going to ink blend that using the traditional die inks from Simon Says Stamp. And then we'll die cut just the trunks and then inlay them back into the trees. This is obviously not required. I feel like I get fussy with my cards and there are certain details that I just don't want to leave out. And of course, adding these trunks back into the trees just makes it a little bit more realistic, or as realistic as colorful heart Christmas trees can be. Okay, so I have a folded note card here that's top folding, and we went ahead and adhered a cream panel to that, and now I'm just going to add the card panel to that card base using some foam adhesive for some additional dimension. And then after we've done that, last thing to do is to create or add our sentiment. Now the stamp set has some really great sentiments, but I want it to be clean and simple, and I love the sentiment strips for that. This particular set is the Love, Peace, and Joy set. After choosing the sentiment that I wanted, I am using a black Copic marker to hide that white core from the cardstock. So this is sentiments that are printed on heavy cardstock. So the core of the paper is white. So adding that black rim around it just cleans everything up and makes it super nice. So now we have this fun and colorful trio of heart Christmas trees, and I absolutely love, love, love this series of products that coordinate together, and I hope you enjoyed this card. Thanks so much for stopping by, and have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.